the split. Mizzy in front of the 100. Crone goes up the inside and Crone takes the lead in the Kilmore. Crone draws clean out from Mizzy. It's a Queensland victory. Crone beat Mizzy.
Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, punters of all ages, welcome back to the Mock Sports presents the Quaddie Poddy, live from Adelaide. Cashy, joined by Nick. How are you, mate?
Good, mate. It's good to be in Adelaide. Weird kind of place, city of churches, that's for sure. Not too sure what's going on just yet, but ready to go, I guess. So we're bringing you the pod live from our Airbnb in the chairs.
Different setup, very Hello Sport-esque.
Yeah, the chair setup, but can you get into it?
Yeah, a lot to discuss. There's
What is
smoke.
that noise?
What is going on? I don't know.
It's the air diffuser.
Oh, there's an air diffuser in our Airbnb punters, and I thought something was on fire. All right, racing.
Yeah.
Okay, last week, a few things to touch on. One thing I want to touch on, Mr. Brightside, squib, absolute squib at anything more than the mile. I know he may have pulled up with a bit of soreness, but he wasn't winning anyways. And I'm glad that a lot of people came for me in the comments and said that I was an idiot, but no, he wasn't winning. Look what happened. He didn't even place.
No, he's just not at his best at the 2000. We said it last week, and he's best at the 1600. So yeah, we'll leave it at that, I guess. But well done to both of us. Didn't pick it.
Cascadian.
Well done to you,
Bang.
mate. Cascadian got it done. Tissue got in the minor placings. Didn't run too bad.
Run third.
So I picked up some points there in the tip off, but not a bad day for us in the end overall.
Yeah, again at Rose Hill, it was very much another. If you're winning early, you're not winning late sort of day until it picked up right at the end there. We smashed Gringotts. But, as we say, when we both tip the same horses, we're usually coming out on top. Serpentine got up.
Best of the day. Got it tipped at $4. So I'm pretty happy with that and tipped it to a couple of my mates as well. I was very happy with that one. Serpentine was always going to win in my opinion. Looked really nice. So.
Yeah, in regards to my best bet, Dunkel becomes the third straight best bet of mine to pull up. So that's fun. Pulled up at the 500 metres, but turned out he broke his leg. But not badly enough that he has to be retired, so that'll get fixed. But, that explains that run. Didn't really travel well, and then all of a sudden he pulls up. Something must have been wrong, and that what was wrong in the end. Elsewhere at Rose Hill, Orchestral could have been a little easier, but winners win in the end. Still got the job done.
Winners win. Good run in the end, so watch that horse and see where it goes next, I guess.
Yeah, if it hasn't busted, if that run hasn't busted, because Toodle Levita almost steals it there with the pace, and Orchestral probably had to work a little bit harder than she would have liked. If she hasn't busted, do you think she can be beaten in the Oaks?
Depends who goes there, I guess. We'll wait and see.
Yeah, again, because Zardozi backing up into the Derby instead of heading straight to the Oaks. Not often you see that.
Yeah, I think they're they might be a bit scared of Orchestral a little bit, so they've gone to the Derby instead. But it's a good weekend of racing this weekend, so I don't blame them.
Yes, the championships, one of the biggest weekends on the Australian racing calendar. Very much so. Looking forward to getting stuck into it. Another big race, not this week, but next, the Sydney Cup. And we talk about backups. One horse that definitely doesn't appreciate a backup, we learnt, Post-Impressionist, dead last by quite a while.
Yeah, didn't do too well, and I was happy I stayed away from it. So yeah.
I'm glad I didn't make it my best bet. That's for sure. I was very close to making it my best bet because I thought the only thing that was going to beat it was the lack of ability to back up. And look what happened. But in that race, shout out to our friend of the pod, Dill Gibbons, second Group 1. Dog.
Yeah, well done, Dill. And dog in his veins, ice in his veins. So happy with Dill. Well done, mate.
Very good.
Many more to come.
Yes, many, many more to come. Shout out to another friend of the pod, Jack Pilkington, trainer out of Hawkesbury. Finally got his first training winner with Alabama State. Good on you, mate. And he also wants you to know that if you do potentially want to own a horse trained by him, you can head to our sponsors, Stridyl.com right now. Check out 2 lovely fillies he has listed. They are out of 2 sires making waves, a Tassort out of Your Song and a Zusane filly that looks and feels like an early, nice racehorse at both great value. So if you want to race with Jack, head to Stridyl and check out his listings. But, mate, the one thing to talk about is the weather. It's nice and sunny here in Adelaide, but it's quite the opposite in Sydney, isn't it?
Yeah, it was good to miss out just before that rain. I think they said it was 100 mils predicted to come down
From
on
100 to 150.
Yeah, from Friday through to Saturday. So good to miss out on that. Going to be some good footy down here in Adelaide. So we'll miss out. We're definitely not going to miss that weather down in Sydney. But it's really going to change. Probably one of the better punting days of the year, and
Always
it really
does.
it always this time of year in
Championship
Sydney
season.
always gets a bit wet. So yeah, it's really going to change punting. Any donkey can get up this week, unfortunately. As you can see in the Doncaster, literally any of those horses can win. I don't know. We'll talk about it in a little bit later, but that in itself is one of the hardest races I've ever seen. So we'll talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, it's really going to ruin such a good day over at Randwick. So
It happened last year, and it happened to be on April Fool's, and people were joking about April Fool's Day. There was $60 horses getting up left, right, and centre because of that weather, and it was just a shame because such stacked cards get produced every year for the championships. And I think I saw a stat that I think 13 out of the last 15 cards have been run in wet conditions, most of them being heavies as well. So it's just a shame, but that's the nature of the beast, I guess, with Sydney come middle of autumn time. The rain just likes to come down. Well, we'll move on to listener questions, mate. Have you got them up?
yeah, I've got them here. Our first one from punters and collectors. Will Nico now accept he's got it wrong with Pride of Jenny being the flop of the autumn? Yeah, I guess you can give me that. I'll take my licks there, but yeah, it didn't do. I don't know. I'll take it. I'll just take it. Cop it on the chin. It is what it is.
Yeah, I didn't think it would do anything again. It has. It's won a race. It almost won on the weekend.
Yeah.
People say it's the only threat to Via Sistina in the Queen Elizabeth, especially now with the weather. You may be able to just steal it with pace again and leave the back markers being unable to make any ground up. Who we got next?
Betty O'Brien, Amelia's duel back to the races. Do you think she wins first up?
I mean, sure, but she's back in Perth. It's not going to prove anything wherever it comes to star status. It's
She'll win.
back to racing nobodies.
Luke Sigma, Imperators to win the TJ. Thanks, Luke.
Potentially.
And then the next one, hell of a show running this Saturday, Hawkesbury My Horse. We'll have a look at that for around the grounds, and we'll put it in so other people can have a look at that as well, mate. Jake P, do you guys keep track of your bets with a spreadsheet or anything? He has just started doing it.
Yeah, I keep track of our best bets. I've actually got the spreadsheet here on the laptop.
Our best bets we do, but our other ones we don't. We've like I spoke about I don't know if it was last week or the week before. We've especially if we tip the same, we kind of load a bit more money on that instead of tipping every race. We'll put it out on Dabble. Obviously, all of our tips that anyone can get on, but for our larger stakes, we usually go for ones that we both agree on because we have a shared account, or we go for ones that one of us is really confident on. So Serpentine. Yeah, we track our footy bets, which is a bit different because our stakes are a lot higher for that. Go check them out if you want to get into it. We've been going crazy. I think we made I don't know.
We went on a streak of 10 out of 12.
10 out of 12 double ups. So yeah, our unit sizes were, I'd say, probably like $25 for the AFL, and we were putting 4 or 5 units on, and yeah, we made quite a bit last week.
I can tell people if they wanted to profit, the profit would be 40.85% profit. So essentially, just under half of what you would have. Okay, let's say if you gambled $1,000, you would have made $485 in profit.
Yeah, so it's not too bad. So yeah, if you want to have a look at them, by all means, they're on Dabble. But yeah, the way we track it with our horses, we probably don't bet as highly on them as we do on the AFL, because AFL, I feel like you have a bit more control. Horses are a bit harder, but we do punt on the ones that we both agree on, or different things as well.
Yeah, for the best. But
it's a good idea. It's a good idea to do that. Punters.
You're in front by one. So if you would have bet on if you put $10 on all of your best bets, you'd be up $5.50.
Fuck
and
yeah.
I'd be down $24 because I'm on a bad streak. Like I said, three of them, the last 3 ones have all pulled up injured. So
And I've got the last 3 in a row, haven't
you're
I?
going for 4 in a row this week.
Yeah.
So yeah, Nick's the hot hand when it comes to the best bet punters.
At the moment.
Who have we
And
got
then
next?
last one from Henry. Was Brightside just off this prep, or is something seriously wrong?
Well,
I wouldn't be too worried. Like I like personally when I punt with Brightside, it's at the mile. Obviously, we said before at the 2000, it's just not he just doesn't look as good. He always has 1 or 2 races in he races like 6 or 7 times in his prep. He always has 1 or 2 that he runs second or third. He's done that the last couple of preps he's had behind Pride of Jenny. Nothing to worry about. I think early on in his prep, he wins most of them, and when it looks right, just you can punt on it, punters. But when it comes to the back end of him, he kind of lacks a little bit.
yeah, I just think he's been running out of his distance this prep, and they say he's pressing on to the Queen Elizabeth potentially.
We
Yeah,
got our mate here,
Oh, yeah.
Ryan. One of
What
our
happened? He was meant to get us
Airbnbs.
beers. What happened, mate?
A little too far away.
Too far away. Listen to this, punters.
I went to one of them around the corner. I didn't exist. And I went to another one and all I saw was wine. So I was like,
Oh well,
they're all miles away.
No beers for the pod. But
damn.
back to what I was saying. Brightside, he's just not a 2000 horse. And yeah, people can go back to that Cox Plate second, gets beaten by a lip. That's really impressive. But you can get away with those sort of things at Moonee Valley with the short straight. If you're up on pace, someone was trying to tell me on TikTok that like we knew nothing just because I said that. But it's an on-pace track. It was an on-pace bias that day. He was on pace. He only had, less than 200 metres to run out the rest of the race if he's up there with that bias compared to a Flemington where he's got 600 metres to run or a Randwick where he's got 400 metres to run out strong. Like, it's big difference. So, again, you keep him at the mile. He's always going to be a threat. He's always most likely going to get the job done. You venture a bit further out. From 5 goes, he's only placed once. I think that, the stats are there to show that he's just not a 2,000-metre horse, but we can debate that till the cows come home. Anything else to touch on, mate?
That's all of our that's our last listener questions, so we'll get straight into it.
Good,
mate.
okay. So we'll just give a quick shout out to our good friends at Dabble, Aussie bookie, changing the landscape of gambling at the moment. Like Nick said, any tips we give, click the copy bet button on the Dabble app, go straight into your bet slip, and you can put as much as you want on. But if you do so, gamble responsibly, set a deposit limit, use code MOCSPORTS when signing up to let them know we sent you. And if you like what you hear, give us a like, share, and subscribe. Track report, mate.
It's going to be wet.
It's going to be wet. If the rain comes down, it's going to be very, very wet. Survival of the fittest. You might need some of those horses that'll run on because, they might be slightly fitter than those, for the 1,200 metre races, you might need to find a horse that's really good at 1,300, 1,400 because it'll be those run-on types. Or, you don't know, backmarkers could have zero ability to make up ground in the absolute slosh, so it might just be pure on paces. These are the sort of days where things get thrown out of the cot and you've just got to go with your gut, try and find the best horse in the race and hope and pray that they run to the best of their ability. That's the best I can give you when you've got over 100 millimetres of rain scheduled. Being honest, if it was any other day, the day would be cancelled. But you can't cancel Championships Day. All right, mate. We go to race 1 on the card. The Kindergarten Stakes. So these are some horses that, weren't around for the slipper but still want to progress through their preps. And I just think you have to be on espionage here. Yes, could easily get rolled. Short horse in a small field. That often happens in races like this. Small field, short favourite gets rolled. But I think he could have been a good chance in a slipper. None of these horses ever even had a chance of getting to the slipper. This horse, if someone had scratched, I reckon he would have been running maybe top 6, top 8. So he's the class horse. Wouldn't be betting in this race, but he should be winning at $2.15.
Fair enough. I'm going with Hallett here, the other Gay Waterhouse Adrian Bott trained horse, $17 and $3 for a place. I'm going with value here, punters. 2-year-olds, not many of these guys would have seen a track like this coming on Saturday. So I'm going for a bit more value. I'm going for a horse that leads. Obviously, Gay and Adrian train those leaders. And I think Hallett will just be too quick and no one's going to be able to chase Hallett down for me. Espionage is obviously the worry, but in a race like this, I don't want to go for some low price, so I'm going to go for some value. In saying that, Embassy would not be a bad shout either, punters. As we move into race 2, the Chairman's Quality Stakes at the 2,600 meters. This is a tough one here for me. Circle of Fire is your favorite, $4.20. Dill Gibbons on board. I think I'm going to settle with Stockman here. Has been known to run well on the wetter tracks. It's had 8 wins on them. Last couple of runs hasn't been great. It did come third 2 preps back, but I'm at $4.80 and $1.90. It might just get into each way odds for me, so I will head with Stockman.
Yeah, look, you know I love an import, punters, and I'm going to be on one here, but no, I'm not going to be on that short favourite import. Instead, I'm going to be on the import Funambulist. $31, $6.50 to place. Call me crazy, but ever since this horse was imported, and it was a while back, so some might not consider him an import anymore because this is probably his 3rd or 4th prep down under. But I think I was quite impressed with him, albeit that was at a much lower level. But he stays for days. I know he handles wet because he's gotten the job done in some bogs before. That's how I did discover him. It was a very boggy midweek track where he just ran away with it. The camp also added him late and paid up the extra late acceptance fee. So, I mean, they must be confident that he can run a race. Otherwise, they wouldn't have done that. So let's have a cheeky whack at the stumps here at Funambulist at $31 to win, $6.50 to place. As we move to race 3, 1,600 metres. Literally anything can win here. This is the race
crazy.
I least want to dip my toe into, even more than the Doncaster. This is how literally any single one of these horses could get up without surprise. So it should be survival of the fittest coming down the straight. Give me Wits End, I reckon. Wits End, J-Mac on board. Nice Kiwi import here. They often come over and show us how to get the job done in the autumn. You know, we saw that with Orchestral last week. I'm not saying this horse is Orchestral, but, you know, these Kiwis. And they're also a bit more used to wetter conditions than the down under horses are. $7 to win, $2.25 each way on Wits End for me.
Yeah, I'm pretty stuck on this one, punters. I'm going to go here with Tannhauser. I know the wide barrier is a bit of a worry, $19 and $5.50. Zach Purton on board. Probably one of the better jockeys in the world.
Yeah.
He's going to be down. So, yeah, I'll be on that one for the 3rd, but it will not be one that I'll be betting on, punters. Race 4, the 2,000 metres, Adrian Knox Stakes. The races from here get hard, man. Like, honestly, they're really tough. Autumn Angel, should win, but it's got 5.5 kilos on everyone else. So you can look elsewhere for that, punters. I'm going with Wakado Girl. Tommy Berry on board, $7.50, $2.60 for a place. Last start came 3rd behind Queen of Dragons. Not too bad for me. 4th barrier. That'll be my go.
Fair enough. Like you said, on face value, Autumn and Major should be winning. But miss me with that shit at that price when in this weather when she's carrying 6 more kilos than the rest of the field. No way I'm going to be betting on there. I like a bit of good banter here. Great name for a horse, by the way. Bit of banter, bit of good banter. Has formed behind Tudor Vita. As we mentioned earlier, that's a horse that almost won the Vinery last week and split Orchestral, and Zardozi, a horse that I'm very bullish on with the Derby later on. So you just have to respect that form. And it's also 1-for-1 on heavy tracks. So happy to go at $6 to win, $2.25 to place there with a bit of good banter. We skip all the way to race 10 because of the tip-off there, mate. So take us to the last race of the day.
Jeez. I got to be with Learn to Fly here. I'll keep it pretty simple at the 1,200 metres. Just didn't get it done for me last 2 starts, but I'll give it one more chance here. So $3.60 for the last.
Fair enough. Commemorative for me. She's a big, strong filly. She was the one that, if you remember, came out midweeks when she was a 2-year-old and looked like a bloody 5-year-old. That's how big she was, and people thought she might have been the next big thing. Hasn't really eventuated, but trialled really well in the lead up to a dominant win first up. Wasn't against strong horses by no means, but you know, if they've managed to get the best out of her, I think she can run a good race here. Seems to be okay in the wet. Jamie Carr on board, worth the punt at $5.50 to win, $2.10 each way, in my opinion. So then we go to the tip-off, mate. A lot to discuss, but before we get into it, if you're listening to this on the Thursday afternoon, you've still got time to sign up for our championships tipping comp. The link will be in the show notes. If you're listening to this on the Friday or the Saturday, too late. You're out. But essentially, you're going to go into the pot with a bunch of other tipsters who are tipping every single race on the card. $20 entry, you tip all 20 races across the 2 championships week, and the winner comes out with 60% of that prize pot. That is looking like it's going to be far and above over the 500, 600 mark, which means first prize should be anywhere from $350 plus, if not more. Shout out to our good friends Thoroughbred Leasing who are sponsoring that tipping comp. If you want to race with them, they've got on offer a colt by Winning Rupert out of the same family as horses like Dashing Eagle, Osborne Bulls, Zapateo, the Galaxy winner, Viridine, Gerizano, and Brief Embrace. If you want to get involved with them, you don't have to buy the horse. You're just leasing it with a one-time small upfront lease fee. You can also terminate your interest with 1 month notice. No further liability at any time for any reason. They've been racing horses for the past 20 years with great success. So join in their latest partnership at Thoroughbred Leasing. Contact Graham 0407 948 483 or email graham@thoroughbredleasing.com.au. Those details will also be in the show notes if you're interested. Now, mate, do you want a score check for our little tip-off that we've had all autumn?
Yep.
You're in front, 4 wins, 4 seconds, 3 thirds, at a total of 36.8 points. I am in second with 4 wins, 3 seconds, 3 thirds, 31.05. So essentially, you've had one more better result than me, and you managed to hit some more value than me. You're in front by 5 points or $5 as the points go, but championships, time to sort the man from the boys. 2 weeks. I think there's about 10 or 11 races that are tip-off eligible for our game, all 10 for the public who are in the tipping comp. We just go the feature races all autumn for us. But, mate, we look at the first, the glorified highway, the grand final for the highway horses, the country championships. Anyone can win it. Who have you settled on?
Value here, atmospheric rock. $21, $5.50. It's going to be wet. It's going to be real wet. The track's going to be real torn up by this stage. I'm looking for someone that's going to be around about near the front-ish. He usually runs near the midfield or the front, but I think that 15th barrier is really going to have to push up. So, yeah, it's going to be, for me, atmospheric rock. But to be honest, throw a dart at this one, boys.
Yeah, genuine. Sizzle Manizzle, last year's winner. I think it was $100 or something stupid. Look, Bandy's boy is the favourite. You got to respect it, considering it's come out and won a genuine, against some group horses. It managed to beat a bunch of group horses last time it was at the track. That's incredible, considering he's coming here to a glorified highway. But you can't be on that price in a race like this, in weather like this. I'm going Gallant Star. I know he swims. He's uber consistent. He should be able to settle pretty handy, get on the back of some speed, and hopefully show his best late. Even if he gets into the minor placings, I'm cheering. $12 to win, $3.60 to place. I'll happily take 3.6 points there as we move to the Inglis Sires Stakes for those better quality 2-year-olds pushing on from the Golden Slipper and a couple others as well who were targeting races like this from the get-go. So, mate, thoughts on this one?
I like this one. Storm Boys real tough to beat here. I think the extra distance won't help. I'm going to settle with Manal here. I think she ran back awesome in the slipper.
Oh, very good.
She from her barrier, she ran one of the best runs out of what she could have done. She did everything she could have. She had a better barrier, she could have won. So she ran awesome. I think she, as you can see from
in the slipper.
Yeah, she went for, or what did she run at? $70 or something in the end?
I don't know, but she drifted out quite a bit throughout the day. She
was
started
out there.
at 41 in the end.
41 in the end, and she ran at $7.50 for this one. So she's obviously come in and they've given her some more respect. So I'm going to stick with her again here. So $7.50 for Manal for me.
Fair enough. And I've been saying for weeks, get on her for the size, get on her for the champagne. I think she's just going to relish the extra distance. I'm with you here. I'll be on Manal, run of the race in the slipper. Like I said, I've been saying for months, these are the sort of races for her. So I'd be looking pretty silly if I'm jumping off her now. Barrier will be a little sticky, yes, but if she can, if she's able to make up ground, I reckon she'll close in on them. A horse that I want to discuss, Storm Boy. Lay bet, lay Stormboy. I'm not a lay better usually, but I'm that confident Stormboy is not winning. And I'm very glad to be proven wrong, and I'm very glad for people to come for me on social media if I am wrong and he manages to get up by 5 lengths. The market's just still obsessed with him off of what was, albeit, an impressive Magic Millions run. But has he backed it up since? No. I think he had his chance in the slipper, and he just didn't let down. Yeah, he maybe went to the inferior ground on the fence. Yes, he missed the jump, but you got to perform under pressure.
If it was at the 1200 again, I reckon he wins. 1400, I just don't know if he's going to react that well. He's I guess he's got a bit more time to make up ground if he misses the jump again. But yeah.
But look, he could come out and gap them and make me look absolutely silly.
This will be his last run
before he goes to the breed. You reckon he'll go to the Champagne?
Oh, if he wins this, he'll go.
Yeah.
If he wins
that's a fair call.
He's done.
I'm happy to be silly, but I mean, off his slipper run, he's no world beater, and if he manages to miss the start again here, good night, off to bed, not winning. If he can't make up ground like that in the slipper, I don't think he'd be able to make it up in this sort of weather either. So, and apparently, looking back through his breeding, Pelican was no wet tracker either. So his breeding doesn't suggest that he'll be super good in the wet either. So I'm happy to be on Manal. I'm happy to lace Stormboy. I'm just confident that he's not getting the job done here. TJ Smith Stakes, mate.
Another tough one. I Wish I Win comes back after, obviously, that Everest win. Was that the last one? Everest, yep. Second in the Everest. Jeez, this is a tough one, man. Imperatriz versus I Wish I Win.
Finally, we get to see the face-off of Imperatriz back in Sydney for the sprints.
Jeez, I'd love to see this race on a good track.
Oh,
the wet's just really going to change it. I'm not too sure how it's going to go. Imperatriz probably gets the run of the race. I can't decide. You go first.
Look, all I'll say is I think I Wish I Win could be an absolute moral next start. I can't be on him here, and I'm happy to miss out on him. Again, he could come out and win like he did last year. But think about it. Last year, he was third up, ready to peak. This was the race he was set for. This year, he's first up, and it's a kickoff point for goals later down the line. Yes, he is usually super strong first up. Yes, he's usually super strong in the wet. I don't disagree with that. I don't think he's ever missed the placings when first up. So he's certainly a place chance. I definitely think he'll probably come second or third. But considering all other horses in this race are going to be at a point they're much, much more fitter than him, I just can't be on him. I'm happy, again, to miss out on him. He can win without my money for that reason. I'm just going to have to be with Imperatriz. She's got that dog in her. She's finally at a backable price. She's not at that $1.60, $1.50 nonsense. She's at the $3.30 now. I think she's also the best horse in the race, period. If you line them all up and put them on face value, Imperatriz is the best horse. Again, she's at a price that I can actually back at. Hopefully she runs like it. Hopefully she gets up. I will, however, mention, considering the weather, Bella Nipotina and Marzu are both overs as hell for at least a place. I'll be having a dabble on them. $3.70 to place for Bella Nipotina and Marzu $4.40 to place. But my main play is Imperatriz to win. Have you settled on one, Nick?
I keep changing. It's I think I'll be with Imperatriz as well. I think it's her race to lose again. She fought back really well at Moonee Valley. She only just got it done, but it's going to be Imperatriz for me as well. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll move to the Doncaster, mate. Oh my God.
Let's save that for the end because there's so much to unpack. Let's do the Derby. Save Doncaster because we could have done a whole pod just on Doncaster. I'm surprised we're not doing pretenders, contenders. They'd all be contenders. But the Derby, race 9 at Randwick. Like we mentioned earlier, Zardozi incredibly backs up against the boys. You don't often see that. But I like it. I like the confidence from the camp to do that. You got Roof Rocket, Tom Kitten, Shearwolf, Cap Ferret, Gambara, Immediacy, Wymark, Noisy Boy, Glad You Think So, Adagio, Zen Master, Hooligan Tommy, Saxon Brave to all try and take her out, and Zardozi, the lone female. Thoughts on the race?
I'm off Tom Kitten.
Finally.
Finally off Tom Kitten. I think I'm going to be with
Watch your win now.
Zardozi. Zardozi, I like the 1 week back up here. I think on the heavy track, she's a bit better on the wet, as you've seen on the soft track and the heavy track win. $3, $80, $60. I thought she was pretty good behind Orchestral, only falling a length and a half, but gets Jamie Carr on board. She's a pretty informed jockey. They'll kind of understand what's going on with the track by this time. So you a bit more skill comes into it at this stage, but Riff Rocket will be tough to beat.
Riff Rocket will be extremely tough to beat. But Zardozi, I mean, last time she backed up on the week, she won the Oaks. So we know she can do the backup. We know she can do the distance. We know she can handle the wet. Everything points to a good run from Zardozi. And if you're worried about her going against the boys, a couple starts ago she managed to beat the boys. You know, a lesser class of boys, but she's managed to get the job done outside of fillies and mares class only. So happy to back in Zardozi at that price of $3.80. So Doncaster, mate, it's a doozy.
Yeah, there's not many horses that can lose this one. Would not be betting on this one, punters, personally. Unless you find some value.
Every horse.
Unless you really like a punt, you can have a go. I don't know.
The interesting one is every horse has a bunch of ticks next to their name and then has a massive cross, which makes you second guess it, you know? Usually in a race like this, you think, okay, distance, weather, who am I going? I'm going Zugotcha. But then you go, oh, 19th barrier. Maybe not. But you know what, mate? Let's actually go through the key facts and stats to see if that reveals anything, you know, out of the ordinary that we can look at historically that's going to tell us that we can find a winner from just the historical stats. Have you got them up? Alrighty, punters. Let's go through the key facts and stats that you need to know before making your pick in the Doncaster Mile.
13 of the last 20 winners have drawn from a barrier wider than 8.
15 of the last 29 winners have come out of the George Ryder Stakes.
Only 5 favourites have won in the last 20 years.
Only 3 winners in the last 20 years have carried more than 55 kilos.
17 of the last 25 winners have been the boys.
Race for the boys. And so, again, we discussed with those wide barriers. Turns out, not that big of a deal in a race like the Doncaster, especially, you know, and we know historically Doncaster Day is typically wet, so don't worry about it being wet offsetting that wide barrier trend. 13 of the last 20. Wider than 8, you know, maybe the rail isn't the way to go with Doncaster Day. So you see those Zugotchas out in 19. You see those Kovalikas out in 12. You see those Pericles out in 16, and you think maybe that's not too bad. So what are you thinking, mate?
My first thought, OBM comes back, who I tipped in the Eagle. This is a much harder field than what he beat in the Eagle. That's what I think. Militarize looks good with Zach Purton.
Can get it done in the wet.
Detonated Jack is looking real nice for me as well, which I didn't expect. But with the track coming, Lady Laguna, I can't rule out. Democracy Manifest. Lindemann. Another Will was awesome win last week. Geez, that'd be boring if he wins.
And 50 kilos too with another Will.
Celestial Legend, 49 kilos.
Feathers.
Schiller.
Feathers. Same as Southport Tycoon. Feathers.
Yeah, I could go on. But I've landed on Zugotcha here.
Okay.
I've landed on Zugotcha. Sticking away from that male trend. Sticking away. She's looked awesome in her 2 starts this prep.
She's back.
She's run best at the 1,500 to the 1,600 metres. Wet track is a tick. Barrier, only race where I say wipe it out. Doesn't matter, except for maybe the Melbourne Cup. Doesn't matter too much on this one. Pretty confident on this one. $19 and $5.50. Pretty happy each way.
You'd certainly run away with that tipping comp, mate. But look, when I look down the field, you see so many winning chances. I've narrowed it down to 3 main chances. Obam Biramai speaks for himself. Golden Eagle winner. I would probably declare him the pick if it wasn't going to be an absolute bog. You don't know. You just don't know how he's going to handle that track. If he handles it, He's the class horse of the field. He could probably maybe even just get up with ease. But then you've got Celestial Legend, Randwick Guineas winner. I tipped him months out. You'd think I'd be on him here. He carries 49 kilos, literal feathers. He's meeting Militarized 5 kilos better, and he managed to beat Militarized on that day. He's got a 5 kilo weight swing on him, so he shouldn't be let Militarized pass him this time. That's for sure. But his only query again, the track conditions. So I had to go looking for someone that I know can get it done in these conditions, and I've settled on that third and final main chance, and that's Lady Laguna. Lady Laguna in the Doncaster. I'm ignoring the male trend as well. I think, you can't knock back her when you look at the form. Never finished out of the money at this track. Absolutely swims in the slop. Has either won or come a narrow second in her last 7 races. So you can't say she's out of form. She beat a lot of these horses home in the George Ryder. So comes out of the George Ryder, like history says, is one of the best ways to win this race. And you think back to that George Ryder, she gets 50 metres more, she probably wins. Gets 100 metres more here to be able to stretch out. Comes here at 51 kilos, an extraordinarily lightweight considering her form. I think the handicapper has missed her here. $9.50 to win, $3.10 to place. She's a fantastic betting price. I think she can win. I'll be cheering her home all the way. I've missed out on her a lot this prep, despite being loyal to her for the rest of her career. Hopefully I can be on her for her biggest win.
Very nice, mate.
All right, that concludes that around the grounds. Have you found anything around the country?
I'm just trying to find our man that he said his horse was running.
Oh, he was running at Hawkesbury.
So I'll find that while you go through yours, mate.
Mine's pretty simple here. I've got 3 at Flemington. Race 6, Nana's Wish, $5 to win, $2 to place. One of the My Racehorse micro share horses. If it wins, I get $6 or something from the micro share payout. Flemington race 7, Apulia, $3.90. It was my derby tip back in the day, and was managed to run a cheeky race there. Didn't quite get the chockies on the day, but gets back to Flemington. Loves the longer distance. Loves Flemington. Should get the job done here. And then race 8, Globe at $3.20. That was the boom horse early spring last year before copped the injury. They say that it's going to be a world beater. Well, if he is, he needs to be winning races like this if he's still the same horse. So that's going to be me around the ground. So have you managed to find our man at Hawkesbury?
I can't find him. So if you're listening, my friend, send us through another message and we'll put it up for you. However, for me, let me get this up. Sorry, punters. Give me 1 second. As I just get this. Why is this being so weird? I've got 2 over at Caulfield. Race 1, Immortal Star, $2.70. And race 5, Furious, $4.80. Too happy with that. Very nice around the grounds. Getting to the quaddie.
Yeah, getting to the quaddie. So race 7, we're going to go Imperatrice. I Wish I Win. We're going to go with Bella Nipotina because of that wet.
And I like Magic Time as our next one.
Okay, we're going to go Magic Time as well. We go to race 8.
We'll take Another Will as our favourite. We'll take my tip and your tip, so Zoo Gotcha and Lady Laguna. And our last one, I'm liking Militarized, I think.
Militarized?
Yeah.
Okay, let's whack him in. In race 9, we got Zardozi, our tip. We got Riff Rocket, the favourite. Tom Kitten, just in case. We don't want that to happen. We finally jump off him and he wins.
And Wymark.
Okay. And then in the last race, we'll go Learning to Fly, your tip and the favourite. We'll go Commemorative. We'll go
Platinum Jubilee.
Of course. And I want to chuck in Pajanti as a bit of value. Okay. If you look through her form lines and her wet form, she's not terrible at $46 there. So $50 will get you 19.5%. Mate, have you settled on a best bet? You're going for 4 straight here. Your best is 4 straight. You never managed to go 5 straight, but you're going to tie your best record streak, 4 straight. Who have you found?
It's tough because I will not be. I don't want to put my best bet through Sydney
because of the weather.
I'm going here. I should have put it in my around the ground. Sorry, punters. Race 9, First Immortal.
You love that horse.
First Immortal
Over at Flemington?
over at Caulfield.
Caulfield.
$2.90. That is my best of the day.
Has it been Caulfield this whole time?
Yep.
My bad.
Have you been saying Flemington?
I've been saying Flemington. Caulfield punters, Caulfield.
Great start.
Yeah, that's an unusual slip up from me, but Caulfield for those races. I'm going with Imperatriz. Tough race, tough day. I really shouldn't be throwing it through Sydney, but I think if you look across that entire card, who's the best horse on the card? It's Imperatriz. I think if she gets her own way in the race and manages to get a clear run to the line and gets a toe in the ground and she's able to produce her best effort, she's just going to win. I can't trust any other horse at Randwick. If we had better conditions, it might be different. But like I said at the top of the show, you just got to find the best horse in the race and hope they run to their best. That's what I'm doing with Imperatriz. If I was going to have one bet, you may as well take the best horse running around in the country at the moment, at least in the sprints. So Imperatriz for me.
Fair enough, mate.
Alrighty, guys, that really concludes it. Again, if you want to join that Tippy comp, if you're listening on the Thursday, it's not too late. Click the link in the show notes to get involved there. If you're listening on Friday and Saturday, too bad, so sad. You're going to have to watch from the sidelines. Anything else to touch on, mate?
No, have a good weekend. A lot of footy stuff coming out. So if you want to look at that, we can get that done as well. So we're actually going to record a little 10-minute betting pod as well, that we said. So we're going to do that, which will be up as well if you want to go give that a listen. It's be across all games, including tonight's game, if you get on it early enough. But yeah, have a good weekend, punters. Hopefully it's good racing.
Huge.